Hello. Today we're going to be talking about the legal things you need to know if you want to run a photography business. I'm your host, Derrick Smith, here on Real Independent Talk. Let's begin. Today we're breaking down the legal foundation of running a photography business. Not how to take better pictures, not how to get more followers, but how to protect yourself legally before this becomes expensive. This video is for anyone who wants to turn photography into income. Weddings, branding, real estate, events, corporate, drone work, social media content. Because the moment money changes hands, you are no longer just a photographer. You are a business. And if you don't understand that, you will eventually pay for it. So let's start with what this is and why it matters. This is about legal structure. This is about ownership. This is about contracts. This is about protecting your work, your money, and your personal assets. If you skip this part, you can be talented and still lose everything. Step 1. Getting legit. Before you book clients, before you post rate sheets, and before you print business cards, you need structure. Most photographers start as sole proprietors. That means legally, you and the business are the same person. If someone sues your business, they're suing you. Your bank account, your car, your home. That's not dramatic. That's how liability works. Forming an LLC creates legal separation between you and the business. It doesn't make you invincible, but it does create a layer of protection. Then you need a business bank account, proper tax registration, and insurance. Insurance is not optional if you're serious. Imagine this. You're shooting a wedding. A light stand tips over and hits a guest. They suffer a head injury. Without liability insurance, that lawsuit hits you personally. Now imagine you're shooting in a rented studio. You damage $10,000 worth of equipment. Venues often require proof of insurance for a reason. This is what legit looks like. Not just an Instagram page. Structure. Copyright. The biggest misunderstood area. Now let's talk about ownership. Under U.S. copyright law, the moment you take a photograph, you own it. Automatically. You don't need to register it to own it. You don't need a watermark to own it. You don't lose ownership because someone paid you. Read that again. Payment does not equal ownership. Unless you sign a written agreement transferring copyright, often called work for hire, you still own the image. Here's where photographers get burned. Example, you shoot branding photos for a small business. 6 months later, they sell the company. The new owners assume they own all media assets. They start using your images in national advertising campaigns. You never granted that level of usage. Now what? If you didn't clearly define usage rights in writing, the dispute becomes messy. Another example, a client edits your photo heavily and removes your watermark. They claim it's theirs because they paid. Without a contract specifying usage terms, enforcement becomes harder. Copyright is your leverage, but only if you understand it. Contracts, where most photographers fail. If you do nothing else after this video, write a contract. Not a template you copied without reading. Not a vague agreement. A real contract. Your contract should define scope of work, payment schedule, non-refundable deposits, rescheduling policy, cancellation terms, delivery timeline, usage rights, limitations of liability. Let me give you a real-world scenario. You shoot a wedding. The memory card corrupts. It's rare, but it happens. Without a liability limitation clause in your contract, you could be sued for emotional distress, travel expenses, or more. With a proper clause, your liability may be limited to the amount paid. That clause alone can save your business. Another example. A client expects 200 edited images. You plan to deliver 40. If your contract doesn't specify deliverables, expectations become assumptions. Assumptions become disputes. Contracts prevent arguments before they start. Model releases. Lawsuits waiting to happen. Now let's talk about faces. If you are using someone's likeness for commercial purposes, advertising, promotion, branding, you need a signed model release. If you don't, you risk violating their right of publicity. That means someone can sue you, for using their image to make money without written permission. This applies even if they were paid, agreed verbally, or new photos were being taken. Verbal agreements do not hold up like written releases. Let's say you photograph someone at a fitness shoot. You later use that image to advertise your services. They lose their job and claim the ad damaged their reputation. Without a signed release, you are exposed. Don't assume consent. Document it. Location and property issues. Public streets are generally safe territory. Private property is not. If you shoot inside hotels, event halls, commercial buildings, or retail stores, you may need permission. Some cities require permits for commercial shoots. Ignoring this can get your shoot shut down mid-session. That's embarrassing and expensive. Drone photography, federal regulation. If you use a drone for paid work, you are operating under federal aviation rules. This is not optional. You generally need a Part 107 remote pilot certificate, drone registration, and airspace compliance. Flying commercially without certification can bring federal fines. This is not a local ordinance. This is federal aviation law. Music and video work. If you deliver highlight reels or promotional videos, music becomes a legal issue. Buying a song does not give you commercial rights. Streaming services do not grant licensing for business use. Uploading a wedding highlight with unlicensed music can trigger takedowns or legal notices. Use licensed music. Always. Taxes and financial reality. Most photographers are independent contractors. That means you pay income tax and self-employment tax. You should be tracking equipment purchases, software subscriptions, travel expenses, and marketing costs. If you don't set aside money for taxes, you will feel it at the end of the year. The IRS does not care that business was slow. Structure prevents panic. Final reality check. Photography feels artistic, but the legal side is mechanical. Talent attracts clients. Structure keeps you in business. The photographers who fail legally usually skipped one of these. No LLC, no insurance, no contract, no model release, no understanding of copyright, no licensing for music or drones. That's not bad luck. That's lack of preparation. If you're serious about building this into income, build the foundation before you scale. Protect your work, protect your name, protect your assets. Do it right, or don't do it at all. Also, we've included several helpful links in the description below that cover things like business structure, copyright law, drone certification, and tax guidance for independent contractors. If you're serious about doing this the right way, those resources will point you in the right direction. Thanks for watching. Tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe.